I think with my research and spanning over 2 decades and really focusing on labor law and law of democracy, I think it's fair to say I've been indifferent to climate crisis. And it was really in 2019, through the combined impact of the student climate strikes, particularly the courageous and far-sighted children in Australia that organized this massive protest. Together with having a toddler who was at that time 5 years old, and really reflecting upon what world would he live in and what world would his children and grandchildren live in the context of the climate crisis. And I think it was really reflecting that and the gravity of the situation, to be quite frank, feeling a little bit of sense of shame that I've been indifferent towards the climate crisis, that I came to the point and realization that I had a duty to act. And the book really is the latest stage of this very profoundly challenging journey. It really seeks to unite my 2 areas of expertise and situate that work in the context of 3 overlapping crises. The climate crisis, of course, but also the crisis in the world of work and the crisis of democracy. I think it's my abiding conviction that both democracy and solidarity are crucial in terms of addressing these 3 overlapping crises. And equally, what we see in this crisis is that both are endangered in a very existential way. So democracy from the powerful forces of authoritarianism, as well as disenchantment and disengagement. And solidarity from equally powerful forces of parochialism, insularity, and nationalism. Yet, and I strongly believe in this, each crisis is of course defined by danger, but also pregnant with opportunity. And I think the Mandarin word for crisis captures this well. It has 2 characters, Wei Ji, and one stands for danger and the other for opportunity. So the way I view these 3 crises is that they're all 3 profound opportunity to broaden and deepen our understanding of both democracy and solidarity, and equally important, to affirm solidarity as a democratic principle. Democracies, after all, are communities, and communities cannot survive, let alone thrive, without meaningful solidarity. I think the acute concern is not with money in politics per se, but with big money in politics. And I think specifically with the millions and billions of dollars that fossil fuel interests have poured into the political process to influence it. And we're talking about money that has gone to the funding of political parties and candidates, money that's been splashed on constant and intensive lobbying of elected representatives. And the result has really been a distortion of the political agenda. So much so that I think it's apt to speak about policy capture. We can see across the world that this policy capture has been responsible for a significant and deep climate inaction. It has been a key contributor to the crisis as where we're at. And in that process, really, what we see is that, again, across the world, that there's been a false equation between the narrow sectional interests of particular companies with the public interest. So democracy hasn't just been a casualty, but also solidarity in that equation. Because what's been marginalized in that process are the interests of the poor, the interests of other countries, particularly those in the global south, and importantly, the interests of future generations. Now, the climate crisis, of course, is profoundly complex. It traverses a range of disciplines, humanities and sciences, goes way beyond my particular training of law. It was, in a way, I had to learn to crawl again. And I think, coming to the EUI to learn Italian, a new language at my age, it was like that, but perhaps triply so, and remains the case. In fact, we all do need to learn a new language, a new vocabulary of politics, of morality to effectively deal with the climate crisis.